Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome in, Scorp. Good afternoon. Um, Kind of impromptu by me. Normally, as you guys know, I normally schedule what I'm going to talk about. I didn't get the opportunity this time, but I'm just going to jump right into this conversation real quick. On this bright afternoon. So today I'm going to talk about incorrigible isn't encouraging. Now, when I know, when you have a conversation or when you have this type of topic, right? When you say the word incorrigible, a lot of people, maybe I'm the only one. Good afternoon, Score. Um, when you hear this word, I I think I can't say that I know. I think a lot of people think about the word incorrigible. So let me just break down real quick what this word actually is, right? So when you have the definition of incorrigible, is simply uh, from this concept a person that is not able to be corrected, improved, or reformed, or their actual characteristics, or their behavior, or anything of that nature, right? So when you go, when you see that word, it's like, oh man, I thought I was saying the other word. But here's the thing, right? When you think about what the word incorrigible or encouraging is, you come to this uh type of understanding, right? Even if you put encourage, right? If you put the word encourage, you'll see that it is simply to inspire with courage, spirit, or hope, heartening to attempt or to persuade, to urge, to stimulate, to give help or patronage to or foster. It's other meanings to the word encourage, to uplift, to in a simpler form, to want something better for the other individual, right? Or another individual, not the another individual, right? So I don't know if you guys caught the conversation that I had with my 33 brother last night, but I asked a question. The question was simply, why is people afraid to adjust? Why are people afraid to, you know, become a better version of themselves? I always ask this question, and having that conversation, if you go back and listen to it, it's simply something like, it's fear. But what fear is holding people back from being encouraged instead of being encourageable, right? A lot of it is because, they want to do things in their format, their way. They're afraid, the fear of losing their their old patterns, their old desires, you know. But sometimes we have to really agree that people don't want to improve because they just don't want to. They just don't care. Dare I say, they just don't give a damn about themselves. And the question then is, why is your heart so hardened? Why is your mind so encaged? Why is your whole being guarded? What are we afraid of? Are we afraid of people thinking that somebody is better than us? Do we think that somebody's going to say we think we know it all if we do improve to be a better version of ourselves? If that's the case, I would like to say there is nothing wrong with being encouraged. There's nothing wrong with being encourageable. There's nothing wrong with being encouraging. Why? Because sometimes You have a better view from the outside in, right? This is maybe one of the only few times that I will literally say that you can see somebody better from an outside perspective, right? Y'all know that I'm one of them people that believe that improvement starts within, but from an observation level, you don't have to be involved with a situation to say, you know what, there is a better you inside of you. There is a better you inside of him. There's a better you inside of her, right? As being a father, you get the greatest perspective of seeing what your child can do and what they cannot do. So you encourage your child to do the things that you see they are great at. If they are great with Legos, if they're great with making animal products out of Play-Doh, you want to encourage that child in doing so. Why? Because that is a interest that has peaked in their early stages, right? But if you see that your child is encourageable, which would be very rare, right? Because at the end of the day, the love that you pour onto that child is more encourageable, meaning the support that you give that child will allow that child to receive whatever it is that you give them. They would be so adoring to that love that they're going to receive it, even if it's chastisement. They may not like it, but they'll receive it. But it doesn't make them incorrigible. Now, if we go into our adult stages, our teenage stages, right? We start to do the independent thing, and we now, you know what, ain't nobody helping me. I could do this all by myself. It allows you to become incorrigible, meaning that I don't need nobody for nothing. I've been doing it my way. I and even if you just making it, right? The incorrigible mind state is telling you that we did it on our own. We don't really need nobody else. We could figure it out. I hate that term, you go figure it out, because if you go figure it out and you get out of the if you get out of the valley just an inch, you think you did it, but well, you did do it by yourself, but you ain't going to accept the encouraging words that somebody else may add into your state of mind, or they may add into your vocabulary or your growth or whatever it is. Why? Because when you do things on your by yourself and you become independent, you are encourageable because you have the state of mind of being grown. Meaning, can't nobody tell you anything. Can't nobody your way is the right way instead of the right way being the right way. Your way is the best way, and that has caught a lot of people and a lot of things. Y'all, but what's going on? At the same time, it stagnates a lot of your momentum because you are so reflecting of yourself and how you did this by yourself that you no longer become incorrigible. You become in instead of Nen. You become incorrigible because I did this by myself. There ain't nobody helped me go through this thing. Ain't nobody gave me a kind word. Ain't nobody done none of these things. And then that sticks into your mind. It resonates in your heart. And then you harden everything behind it. Why? Because you've done it your way. Like I said, we were speaking about cultivating, and when you most people know when you cultivate, you have to break things down, right? If you trying to plant in your backyard, right? Let's say some cucumbers, right? You have to understand the ground must be fertile. In order for you to have the fertile ground, you have to break the dynamic of the upper tier of the ground, the firm the grass or the dirt that's already above it. Why? Because you have to go deep enough to say, you know what, this seed can be cultivated. It can root. It could be a good solid fertile ground to where the roots will go down, and whatever happens in the root in the ground is going to resonate from above, meaning as the roots plant, so too does the vegetable that you're trying to develop. In this case, we're talking about cucumbers, right? So as that happens, you must break down, you must break through all of the hardness, all of the weeds and all of these other things in order to allow something to cultivate. So too does it happen with us, right? We have to break through the pains and the traumas of things that has happened in our lives. I'll speak for me. If I was to be the same 13-year-old boy who lost his mom and say, you know what, I don't give a damn about nothing else that happens in my life. I'm going to do it the way I see fit. Like I know it all. Because in all reality, thank God for my grandmother. Thank God for the family in totality. But if I would have ignored the examples or the things that they put into my mind, I could not be the person that I am today. I would probably be a heartless person who's just stuck on the individual of me, right? I probably would be a selfish person because I have to worry about me. But that's not what happened. They encouraged me to look outside of the box. They encouraged me to not place yourself in a bubble, because in real world life you are going to need people around you that's going to encourage you, not for you to be incorrigible, because the world is full of people that can help you. But because we are so independent of facts and so independent of people uh, 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 having an idea that could resonate in our mind, heart, and soul, we are just going to be incorrigible and do it the way that we do it. If I was to be that way, I would have been a lost person on the block, or you know, somewhere in a negative aspect. Being a 13-year-old boy, losing his mom, trying to figure out how to make ends meet, how to keep a roof over my head. No male figure involved. No, no uncles. As all my uncles at the same time is perishing. My dad, non-existent. He's perishing at the same time. So what I'm saying is, because I didn't go to the individual independent state of mind, it allowed me to be encouraged to see something from a different aspect. I had to go ahead and do certain things for the sake of the family instead of myself. Why? Because you have them people that in all reality need you more than you need yourself. That's what helped me to become a better person than I would have been, right? Older brother, doing what he does. This, he's not around. He's managing himself to be a teenager and do the things that teenagers do. I, being a person that understood the lessons of what my mom was trying to teach me even at that early age. Family is first. Family is important. If I was incorrigible, I would have said, screw the family, let me do what I need to do, and then come back around. But because of the early teachings, sometimes if you become so enamored, if you become so focused on yourself, you have tunnel vision. You only see what's in front of you, nothing behind you, and you don't have a peripheral view of what's around you. And if that would have been me, I would have been very incorrigible. I probably would have been doing 60 years in prison for doing things that I wasn't supposed to do, being on the block. I'm an older guy. So I came up in the era where easy money was quick, fast, in a hurry. You make more in a day than a person makes in a paycheck, period. If I stayed in that incorrigible situation, that would have been me. Hey, I can go, listen, we need a new house. Let's go buy a house. Here, take this money and do that. put it in my name though. You understand? Because it's all about me. It's about me. I'm so focused on the independent person being me at the age of 13. It would have had to been about me. No parents, just me taking care of myself. But because of the encouragement of the family around me, I had to worry about a little brother who was a type 1 diabetic, an elderly grandmother who just lost her daughter, excuse me, and then taking her grandchildren at the same time, still trying to make it off of a pension that she earned from the five and dime store, which we would know to be as Woolworth. I'm telling y'all, I'm outdating myself, but I'm giving y'all a story here, right? At the end of the day, when you got those scenarios and you got that situation, it's very easy to say, you know what, go for self. Be that encouraging person. Do what you need to do, and do all the things that everybody else is doing around you. Go out there and do that quote unquote nickel and dime. Not the way grandma did it, but the way they doing it today. Going out there selling them drugs, pushing the poison out to these people, doing the things that you want to do. That would have landed me, because if I know me, if I the way I love people, the way that I encourage people, if I would have looked at myself in that way, holy moly. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't know what the fear is to be an incorrigible person, because everything around me was encouragement. And maybe that situation had to happen. Don't wish it, to be honest, I really wish that it didn't happen. I really wish that it didn't occur. But the fact of the matter is, it did. And all I knew was people that wanted the best for me. And here I am 35 years later, doing the same exact thing that was poured into me. I'm pouring out to people. But my question is to you, why are so many incorrigible? What has hardened your heart to where you think you don't need the assistance of another person? What is it that's in your heart that told you that people are here to harm you instead of help you? You have to cultivate your mind. You have to cultivate everything anew. Why? Because we're not those 13, 14, 15, 16, 20, 25-year olds anymore. Some of us. I know there's some of us in the surrounding chats and stuff like that who come through this channel that are of that age. But the majority of us have been parents. The majority of us, dare I say, I no offense, may be grandparents at the age of 45. Why? Because we was incorrigible. We did what we wanted to do. We focused on ourselves. We had situations where some of us done things with no preparation or no consequences to our action. There's some of us that had children at the age of 16, 17, because we was incorrigible. There was no guidance that was going to tell us to stay away from certain aspects of life. But because we was that incorrigible, there are some of us that's 45 and grandparents right now. There's some of us that don't have a care in the world. There's some of us that was so incorrigible. Now that we older, we don't even know what love is. We're so incorrigible. If somebody hug us, we're being love bombed. If we were so incorrigible, if somebody says, I appreciate the things that you do, you go to a negative aspect, the quote unquote no diddy, the quote unquote no homo. Why? Because it's very difficult to hear one man tell another man that they love them, because we were so incorrigible. You have to be traditional man, no crying, no this, no that. For a woman, they felt, a lot of them feel like they had to be traditional, be nurturing, be kind, and all of these things, right? That's how it's supposed to be. But guess what? Traditions change, times change. The only thing that's not changing, a lot of us, is our incorrigible state of mind, because we are stuck where we are. It's like when people go to prison, they turn around, they get stuck. at what time the age that they went to prison. And then when they come home after if God wills them to have the time to come home from prison, they don't have an idea of what's going on in the real world. Just because you watch TV is different from watching TV and being a part of the scene. Dang, I seen what happened. I seen what happened. It was going on in New York. But when you go out there, that concrete jungle is different. You see new buildings. You see places in New York to where they're building up instead of building sideways. It's starting to look, there's boroughs that's looking like Manhattan instead of the suburbs that they were intended to be. That's 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 the encouragement of you trying to elevate. You should be elevating, but because you are stuck in an incorrigible state of mind, the change, it's a change and not an improvement in your eyes, because you see things getting worse. You see a once all black community turns into a Spanish area, a Chinese area. It's no longer what you remember it to be 25, 30 years ago. Why? Because there's an adjustment that has happened in your life, but because you are so incorrigible, you could only see yesterday instead of today. And these are the things that we have to work on going forward. It's like I said, why are we stuck? Why is our state of mind stuck on being where it is now? Why is there no room for improvement? The room for improvement has to begin with us. The I incorrigibleness is already us. We're stuck where we are. We don't want to do this. We don't want to do that. We don't want to change. We don't want to we don't want to do the work to become a better version of ourselves. That's where you have to ask yourself why. That's why you start to dislike people that's trying to motivate somebody or encourage somebody to be a better version of themselves. You can do the same thing. There's nothing holding you back. What's the solution? The solution is to look at yourself. Look within yourself. I tell you guys all the time, you are the storehouse. Everything that you need has already been given to you in your birth, when you came out the womb. This is why I say some of the greatest things, the greatest ideas happens in the dark. The greatest things to come out of the dark is us. We are the thing. The greatest thing to come out of darkness is the individuals known as whatever your name is. But because we are so incorrigible, because we are so indoctrinated in what's been given to us, that's it. That's the way it is. You ain't got to, you can't tell me nothing. That's where we are in the world. So instead of people being the encouragement of, hey, you could be a better person, or hey, a better you is a better us, we get mad at the message that we can become better, and and get triggered because the person that's giving the message is actually portraying it. My 33 brothers says it all the time, and this is a thing that we say in the group. Consistency is the key. If you consistently break down, if you can consistently cultivate your mind and allow your mind to be fertile ground with new information, the newness is going to enlighten your mind, and it's going to, once it enlightens your mind, it enlightens your body, it enlightens your soul, it enlightens things that you never thought needed to be illuminated. That's how much that a cultivating of the mind, or as the religion people would say, the renewing of your mind. A spiritual person would say someone that needs to be reborn spiritually. Well, if that's the case, all of those things have to be cultivated with the changing or an adjustment or the improvement of your thought process. When that happens, you are no longer I incorrigible, you become incorrigible with the EN. And when that happens, you understand that the sky's the limit for you. It doesn't matter if you're 30 years old. It don't matter if you're 40, you're 50 years old. It is possible. You have to know these things. You have to know that you can do it. Stop believing in things. You have outgrown the process of believing. You have to elevate into knowing, not to say, you know what, I know I can become a better version. I know I can become this person that I'm talking about. Why? Because I know what's within me. That is encouraging yourself. You know, a songwriter says sometimes you have to encourage yourself, even through the trials and tribulations of a thing, even when you down. That's why we all, what's our street expression? Keep your head up. BDB, how you feeling? How you living? What up, nine? That's why we tell people in the street, yo, keep your head up, man. Tupac said, you got to keep your head up. Why? Because if you keep your head down, you only focus on the lower things, the lower aspects that is surrounding you. That is incorrigible. Because if you keep staring at the floor, your neck might lock. Not to be funny, but you know what I mean? You just keep looking at the floor. You just looking at the floor, and you just, yo, I don't even want to pick my head up. I don't want to see what is ahead of me. I don't want to see what's in front of me. I am afraid of what is in front of me, even if it's something bright and very productive for you. If you keep your head down, you'll miss the light. You'll still be in your doom and gloom stages. It's time for you to break that, to cultivate yourself to become encouraged, to say that there's something better for each and every one of us out here. There's something that is an improvement on what happened yesterday. You have to throw away that encouraging mind, that incorrigible mind, that nothing could be better. You have to get away from that trauma situation. You have to get away from that uh, 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 independent state of mind, because those things allow you to be exactly where you are, trapped in the corner. And instead of you fighting to become encouraged, you don't have the strength to do it, because you have the defeatist attitude that I am not encouraged. I am not encourageable. I am incorrigible with the IN, and now I'm stuck. I don't want the betterment of myself. I don't want this. I don't want that. um I just don't want it. I'm afraid to fight for it. I gave up. I fought, and then I have been defeated. That is an incorrigible IN mindset. That is a defeatist attitude. That is a victim mentality. Those are all incorrigible states, because if you are there, you see there's no hope. You see there's no future. You see that nothing you can do can elevate you from the situation that you're in. That is an incorrigible state. That is not encouraging, because you are still at the bottom of yourself. You are still at your lower self. This is why we have these conversations, to elevate you, not because we're better than anybody. We just have an understanding that you can be better than what you are. It's not about me being right. It's not about the 9% being right. It's about it being right. It's about it being the thing that helps you get to a better state of mind. That's why when you have somebody like a BDB and music is your thing, I will encourage you to subscribe to him. If you need some type of a development as far as sewing or knitting, we have a Scorpio mama. If you need, the spiritual aspect, the understanding of philosophy, we have a word that the word that is on scene to give you those type of things. Life coaching, just you finding other avenues to pick yourself up from the lower form of being incorrigible. This is why we come through and have these conversations. If you need financial situations, you need a pick me up, you need an understanding, I would suggest you go to Alicia J. Stocks. I would suggest you to go to Prez the Investor. Why? They have an understanding of how to elevate somebody in those departments. This is why I do the best that I can to come through with a whole bunch of people to connect with them, because I may not have all the answers, but what I do, I understand that that way may be a positive way for somebody in themselves, for somebody else. So I encourage you to go to somebody. I encourage you to go to the stock people. I encourage you to go to the music people, uh, uh, the gaming people. You know what I mean? If it helps you keep yourself encouraged, go to them, please, because I no longer want to see nobody that's incorrigible. The fact that the expectations or the things that we see in somebody that they may not see in themselves, it's always a painful scenario to me. Why is it painful? Because there's so many people that don't take the time to look inside of themselves because they have been indoctrinated to look outside in instead of inside out. You know what I mean? When you hear of a passionate person like a riders for life, as far as helping to build up a safer community, or doing things to protect your people, your children in the school area, I would tell you to go over there and see her, just to understand how sincere and passionate that she is. And sometimes you may get the results that you need because of it. You see that passion. Hey, I could do the same thing that Riders is doing. Hey, I like the fact that BDB is bringing music from international places, whether it's Australia, Japan, or wherever it's from. I see what he's doing. He's blending it together. He's making music something that is enjoyable, and I think I can do that. So go ahead and subscribe to BDB. Right? These are the things like Yaba. He's so he's so in tune in investigating certain aspects to where it will help you improve yourself, whether it's spiritually, soulfully, or consciously. I would tell you to sub up to him. Why? Because we all need that aspect in life, right? We all need that understanding that something, somewhere can help us to become encouraged to be a better version of ourselves instead of just locking in and doing things our way because we think our way is the best way. They tell us that if you keep doing the same thing and want a different results, that's insanity. That is someone that it may be incorrigible. But like I'm telling y'all, you have to cultivate. Shout out to my 33 brother once again, because this was his topic last night. You have to cultivate in order to understand that in order to break from that I incorrigible, you must have for that fertile ground. In order to make a new friend, as part of the word cultivating, you must understand you have to break the barriers of being alone. You have to break the barriers of being by yourself. uh, you have to just break all of those things down and allow the fertilization of that ground wherever you plant that seed of encouragement to be exactly what it needs to be. You know, That's right, Scorp. Encourage your kids to learn skills at a young age. That's when I learned to do how. Yeah, you gotta understand that. That's why if your child is. That's why I used the example earlier. If you are a parent and you see that your kids are willing to understand that, I encourage people to even if you don't speak another language, encourage your kids to speak another language. Why? Because English, it's not a dying breed, it's a necessity, but there's other languages that's coming through. So if a lot of us is around some Spanish people, allow them to speak Spanish. Why? So they can have an understanding of what's being spoken about around them, right? If they understand what's being said around them, they know how to combat it. They know how to go, they know how to adjust to the conversation. They can sit there and listen. Okay, you said all this about me. Why is that? And if that's not a safe environment, they know how to get out of there because they are being encouraged to understand a new language to stay out of harm's way. But if you're incorrigible, thinking you could just beat everybody, no matter what they're talking about, you could be in harm's way anyway. This is why I'm telling you it's time for us to be cultivated from incorrigible in to being encouraged to be, to be the best version of ourselves. I ask you to do that because it may not seem it may seem impossible to a lot of people. I know that improbable is not impossible, right? I know there's people that really want to be a new person. I know that people want to be an elevated version of themselves. But if you are around the same a crab in the barrel situation, they are going to encourage you to stay where you are. I don't care if they pulling down limbs. I don't care if they breaking things. Or you know what I mean. It's just the way that people they are. And that's another thing, Scorp. We have allowed society to dictate to us what we must do. We got to pay the $2,000 to keep a roof over our head. So we have to be encouraged that, hey, I have to go out there and work 60 hours a week just to keep a roof over our head. Okay, now that you paid the $2,000, what about food? What about, you know, the lights? What about gas? What about uh the electric bill, so on and so forth. We are so encouraged to just go out there, encouraged, I am, that we have to do a 9 to 5, that we're not encouraged to become a boss, to start your own independent business, or individual business. I don't want to say independent because independent people think you don't need nobody. Independent means in that situation that you are independent of following others rules because you are the boss. That's what I mean by independent in that manner. But if you go about it this way, if you look at it from that perspective, you don't you can see that there's a light at the other end of the tunnel. You don't have to be afraid that you just walking in darkness and you just gonna bump into something and you just gonna lose. Winners don't quit and quitters don't win. That's what encouraging does. Hey, you can do it. You got this. Come on, you got this. You need to talk. I'm here. That's an encouraging word. But if you encourage you, like, man, screw what the hell you talking about, dog. I'm gonna do this my way. I'm gonna go about it this way. And even if you're struggling, there's people that's so gung ho on doing it their way that they don't want to receive the encouragement. They become incorrigible. That's why those two words are polar opposites. And I want everybody, just because you see or hear the word incorrigible, it's not encourage. You have to understand that. And if I'm confusing people, I'm apologizing. Look at the title, see that there's a difference in the title, and decide which one you are. If you understand you are not incorrigible, you should be able to embrace somebody suggesting a different manner for you, a different aspect, a different sight of view for you to become a better version of yourself. And if you are that you know, incorrigible person, all I can do is say, you know what, in due time, I'm still waiting for you, right? I know people saying, well, you tripping because they may not want to change. I get it. There's going to be people that don't want to be encouraged. There's going to be people that's incorrigible, right? And this is for people that want it or people that know that they need it but are afraid to take the first step towards it. You can be encouraged. You don't have to stay in the state of mind of incorrigibleness, right? If that's a new word, I made it. That's cool. But you don't have to stay there. You can always lift yourself up. You can always rise to the occasion of improvement until you become the occasion that is risen to because you improve so much you become that beacon of light for somebody else, i.e., a better you is a better us. This is the things that we talk about on a normal basis. And I get it. This is not something that is popularized. This is something that is not going to be a glorious scene for a bunch of people. I'm not here for the glory. I'm here for the simple fact that somebody needs to be encouraged to be removed from the incorrigible state of mind. You are not alone. You don't have to be there. You don't really need to be there. You are welcome to be you are there's a olive branch for you to be encouraged. There's a, 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 a yarn of rope for you to be uplifted, to get pulled out of the caves, the Dutches, I mean the clutches of doom and gloom. The question is, do you want it? The solution is, How do you get it if you want it? That's what we're here for. We're here to show you that there's somebody here that's willing to give you a key. Maybe it's not the master key, but it's the key of encouragement that can get you to the next room, to the next town, to the next destination that you need to get to. I may, I'm not, I'm not trying to be a prophet per se. All I'm telling you is that there is an opportunity for you to move on from the state of being incorrigible to where you can actually become a better version of yourself. And if that's something that you may not want, I apologize for wasting your time. Maybe you don't need to be here. Maybe this is just for people that does want to receive an encouraging word of not being incorrigible, right? And I'm gonna keep saying it this way because I know somebody's gonna be confused. So if you are confused by what I'm saying, look up the word that the title is under. Incorrigible, incorrigible, and look at the other word, encourage. You will understand why I'm speaking this way. You will, and when you look it up, you will understand the difference and say, you know what? I would rather be the en than the in. And if you are on the in side and you don't want this, like I said, I apologize for wasting your time. But this is for somebody that feels like they can't be encouraged. They are in the state of incorrigibleness. This is for you. There are many people that have their own stories, that have their own testimonies of what has held them down for so many years, right? Whether it's for me, the loss of my parents, I had to develop, my individuality to become a person that needs to be a better person than what I would have been if these people weren't around me. The encouragement helped me grow. There's people that may not receive that. There's people that don't even want that. Like I said, this is not for you. This is for people that wants to come up out of the doldrums, that don't want to be in the state of loneliness, the state of misery, the state of, dare I say, independence. I know that if you are independent, you have a very high probability of being incorrigible. And when you are incorrigible, there's no room for growth for you. You have stunted your growth as if you put bad things into your minds, your bodies, and your understanding. It's like when back in the days when we were told, smoking will stunt your growth, or things like that. You are putting things into your mind that is making you incorrigible. We are trying to cultivate your mind to become encouraged, encourage. So that way you can see a newness, a different. There's people that don't even want to leave their hometown because they are afraid of what's outside of them. Don't be like Abel. Don't be afraid something's going to harm you. Be like Abraham. Say, you know what, there's something out there better for me. Guide me to where the improvement is. But because we are incorrigible, we are afraid to step out of the boundaries. We are afraid to step out of the box that we have manifested for ourselves, or the bubble, or whatever it is. I'd rather be in the dot, but I always tell people there's always room, right? I may not be able to fit 10 people into a studio apartment, but the encouragement would be, if I know you need my help, it's time for me to elevate myself to come out of a studio apartment to get a 2-bedroom. If there's more people, I may need a house. But that's the encouragement state of mind that we have to have instead of the incorrigible. Ain't nobody coming to see me. Ain't nobody coming to check up on me. Ain't nobody going to do this. Ain't nobody going to do that. That's the encourageable state of mind. But we have to be encouraged that something is getting through. I don't care if it's like I tell people all the time. I appreciate everybody here, but if this number had 0 watches right here, I will still speak the same thing and leave whatever information that I'm giving out there. It's in the algorithm. It's on YouTube. They're not going to erase it. Why? Because there's no negative content. If somebody was to complain about it, it can't be removed because there's nothing wrong with it. What could they say? Oh, well, he's encouraging people not to be incorrigible. They're gonna take it off. If they take it off, it just shows you the ways of the world, which means the understanding of what I'm saying is correct. Not that I'm correct. The understanding of what I'm saying is correct. There's a lot of people that don't want you to be encouraged, but it's up to the individual. It's up to you that's listening to this. Do you want to be encouraged, or do you want to stay in the incorrigible state of mind? The decision is yours and yours alone. I truly hope that the encouragement of what I'm saying, it resonates in your hearts, your minds, your souls, so you could be a better person. And when you become better, you make the people around you better. That's why a better you is a better us. Be encouraged as you go about your days, your day to day. And that's all I have for you at this particular time. So I appreciate everybody coming through. Shout out to those that are here right now. Yaba, Scorp, BDB. I appreciate y'all. Shout out to the replay gang. I know people are not getting these notifications that me go. I didn't even like I said, I popped up, so there was no notification uh for me doing this. Like I said, I just popped up, right? But the fact that this is here, right? If you go through the channels and you see, oh, she did a live. Let's see what he's talking about. Hopefully, it's resonated. But what you cannot say, what you cannot be incorrigible about, that nobody says that you can be encouraged. That's how I'm gonna end this live. Once again, I appreciate y'all coming through. Um, until next time, I appreciate y'all.